Hello everybody, my name is Pixel and welcome to the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel. Today I have some gameplay of the Ghost Recon Breakpoint closed beta being played on the SAPPHIRE PULSE RX 5700 at 1080p using the game's very high preset and with temporal injection disabled. Now, if you are wondering what temporal injection is, it's a resolution reconstruction technique that allows the game to render out frames at a variety of different resolutions, and then use the data from those previous frames to reconstruct the image at a desired resolution. This can give a drastic uptick to performance, but as with most upscaling or reconstructive techniques, there can be artifacts and the image can look quite a bit softer than what you would expect from a native presentation. This is something that has been used on consoles fairly often for quite some time now and has just started making its way over to the PC on a more frequent basis. Whether or not you're going to want to use this feature is really going to come down to how much you value a native image sharpness over other graphical details that you are able to turn down. Personally, I really love a clean native image, so I would always opt for lowering other options such as screen space reflections, volumetric lighting, or depth of field in order to maintain a target frame rate before running any forms of resolution reconstruction. As you can see from the performance overlay in the upper right, we had very few issues holding a solid 60 FPS minimum using very high settings at 1080p, which, if you've played the previous game in the series, Ghost Recon Wildlands, you will know that this is a fairly impressive feat since Wildlands was an incredibly difficult game to run. Not to mention that Breakpoint looks like a generational leap in terms of some of the visuals on display here. Foliage is by far the standout feature here because not only is the environment much more densely packed, but each piece of foliage is also of a much higher quality and even much more dynamic in terms of both general animation and interactability. Combined with the awesome deformation shader for the terrain and the beautiful lighting solution including the use of volumetrics, this game can really take on an almost photorealistic presentation, the likes of which I have never seen before. However, I am planning to release another video on Ghost Recon Breakpoint that will be dedicated towards the graphics, so let's instead take focus at the game itself. I have to admit, I had no idea what to expect when booting up Breakpoint for the first time, other than it being yet another open world Ubisoft title. While I do indeed own a copy of Wildlands, I only actually played it for around an hour or so before getting bored and moving on. You see, before I started making these videos for Sapphire, I was incredibly unforgiving to video games that started slowly, especially if they appeared to offer little to no challenge. So when Sapphire asked me to cover Breakpoint in a video since it is indeed an AMD technology partnered game, I was not exactly thrilled. To be clear, I never thought that Wildlands was a bad game, just not my type of game, not the type of game that I'm into. The reason I bring this up is because I've been noticing a trend over the past few months. Being forced to commit more than just an hour or two to any given game can really change your perspective, and as a result I have found myself developing a fondness for games and franchises that in the past I would have put down within the first couple of hours and never touched again. The Division, Devil May Cry, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Wolfenstein and Darksiders are just some of the franchises that I picked up in the past, given up on, and now really enjoy, and I'm starting to think that Ghost Recon is about to join them. You know, I actually feel kinda guilty. For years I have been taking digs at every opportunity towards Ubisoft and their infamous open world formula, but the truth is I think I've caught the bug because I have legitimately enjoyed all their recent games and what little I have played of Breakpoint is no exception. By no means have I managed to get a full grasp of the game just yet, but I think I'm starting to get an idea. Yes, it follows many of the bullet points laid out by the Ubisoft open world formula. I mean, there's a huge open world to explore, areas gated off based on gear level, resource collection, crafting, having the ability to scout out an area via a drone, and the constant enemies wandering the map looking for a fight. But I think I'm actually developing a deeper understanding of what makes a Ghost Recon game, well, a Ghost Recon game. While I have not played any of the previous Ghost Recon games, a fact that I am actually low-key ashamed of, I have managed to watch quite a few of the recent developer interviews and they have talked an awful lot about the changes that they've made to the enemy AI. Apparently, in the previous games, or at least in Wildlands, once an enemy spotted you, most of the other enemies in the area would be instantly clued into your exact location and a fight would ensue. In Breakpoint, however, the AI is supposed to have had a bit of an overhaul, meaning that now there is multiple enemy alert phases. So now you are spotted, then they will investigate, and if they see you, they will then attempt to alert the rest of the enemies in the area, which from my own testing does appear to be fairly accurate, and most importantly, consistent. One small issue I have with this is that while it does feel good, it kinda seems to make the game a little bit easier versus the human enemies, since most human enemies can be taken down with a single well placed headshot. So providing that you are fairly quick, it appears that you are able to just storm into enemy camps and quickly tap heads. Granted, I was playing on the regular difficulty setting when doing this, but when you can storm a level 40 area while only gear level 18 and come out on the other end with basically not even a scratch, it does make you wonder if things are really working as intended. Thankfully, at least in my opinion, there are also some mechanical enemies such as drones or these Ammon robots that are really able to ramp up the difficulty without feeling too cheap. I'm just hoping that we get some really interesting variations throughout the rest of the game to stop them from feeling stale. I can imagine that working together with a few buddies on the hardest difficulty to take down some of these enemies could feel really fun and rewarding. One area where I think the game could do with some really big improvements has got to be the vehicle handling. The game world is huge, and so you're going to want to be driving or flying as much as possible, but unfortunately, I just found the driving in particular to feel really stiff and unresponsive. Also, due to the extreme density of many of the forest areas and the depth of the water in the boggy areas and the incline of the hilly areas, off-roading to cut down travel times is really not that reliable, which can be a real pain in the backside if you don't have any fast travel points nearby. If the missions in the beta are anything to go by, there's going to be an awful lot of distance to cover in the full game. It was not uncommon to have a multiple phase mission with each objective separated by many kilometers and across some very unforgiving terrain. That said, while the missions I did play in the beta were fairly simple, mainly consisting of go there, press this or kill that, I did really like that you were able to go into the menus and view the intel that you collected. It's simple, but it's a nice little detail that's there for anybody that wants to dive into the lore and the world building. In many ways, Ghost Recon Breakpoint appears to follow the looter-shooter blueprint. The vast majority of your time in game will be spent in trying to increase your gear score by getting your hands on better equipment and weapons, either from the shop, out in the world, or crafting. This is one of those systems that I consider to be a double-edged sword because while you are constantly getting new and shiny stuff to play with, you are constantly discarding many times more. Don't get me wrong, I am as much of a sucker for new loot as the next person. I just think that it's a massive shame that before you reach endgame, there is basically zero reason whatsoever to care about any of the loot that you have acquired. While this is pretty much a trope these days in almost every single game that has RPG style loot mechanics, I just can't help but think that it could have been managed at least a little bit better. That said, one of the things I enjoyed the most about the beta was in fact the gunplay. Weapons, while maybe sounding a little weak, do have a nice kick to them and the bullet speed feels just right in terms of balancing out the skill required to lead a distant target while still feeling responsive up close. It's really great stuff. The one big feature that I never got a chance to test out was the co-op, which sucks since co-op is one of the big selling points here. Fingers crossed, I should be able to at least convince a few of my mates to jump on with me at launch because I can only imagine how much fun and chaos could be had in a group. Overall, I am confident that if you, like myself, dig the whole Ubisoft open world thing, then you're probably going to really enjoy this game, and if you've got a few buddies to play it with, then even better. Now, I know that I've not really gone into too much detail here, but that's because I would really want to pump in a good 30 plus hours into a game like this before fully committing to airing my opinions on every single aspect of the game. Right now though, today, Ghost Recon Breakpoint is looking really promising and I'm certainly hyped for the full release. There is a very good chance that I will cover the game with a full impressions video at release, so be sure to check back for that in future. With that said, that is going to be me done for today. If you are new around here, then please do consider slapping that subscribe button and dinging that bell icon so you get notified of our future uploads. If you like this video, then please remember to like the video. And if not, there is a button for that too, and all we ask is that you let us know why, along with any questions, suggestions or general feedback in the comment section below. Also, if you are active over on Instagram, please do take the time to check us out over there as well. You can find our account at SapphireTech_official. Either way, from myself and everyone here at the Sapphire Tech YouTube channel, thank you so much for watching till the very end, and until next time, we will catch you later. Bye bye.